He hadn't touched a horse in 40 years, but his hands still remembered the reins, and his ears followed every hoofbeat.
Grandpa, am I holding the reins right?
Tighten your left rein just enough to feel her mouth. She listens with her whole body.
Inside, Sarah pressed her palm to her mouth. Thomas stood rigid. They'd watched these lessons with anxious hope, but this afternoon felt different.
She's pulling towards you, Grandpa. She keeps turning her head to the porch.
Michael's hands, which had been gesturing in the air, went still. A long pause hung over the corral.
Tyler, bring her to me. Lead Dunya right up to the porch.
To you? But you haven't.
I know what I said. Just do it, son. I need to meet her.
Tyler swung down and led the mare by the halter. In the window, 4 faces went still. Michael reached out as the hoofbeats drew closer, but as the hooves closed in, the clatter pulled Michael back 40 years to a roundup in the same corral, a horse rearing, and a man falling through golden dust. He'd woken in a hospital bed with bandages wrapped tight over both eyes and a silence where sight had always been. A figure had stood in the doorway that night, shoulders stiff, not saying a word. The shadow never crossed the threshold.
He's really going to touch her. After all this time.
Stay inside. Don't crowd him. Not now.
Tyler halted the mare astride from the porch. Michael heard the soft push of her breath, the creak of leather, and the blood roaring in his own ears. His trembling fingers found her muzzle. Warm velvet and completely still. The instant they met, every muscle in the old man's body seized, statue still, as if his skin had recognized something his mind could not yet name. He didn't speak. He didn't move. Only his chest stopped rising.
Something's wrong. Look at him.
Tyler, let go of the halter. Step back right now.
Why is he shaking? Grandpa never shakes. Something's really wrong.
Michael's fingers reached for the mare's neck, tracing the curve with the slow certainty of a blind man reading a familiar face. He found the ears, the exact set he had memorized through years of touch, and a sharp breath escaped him.
He's got tears running down his face. I've never seen him cry, not once. I am going out there.
Thomas shoved through the screen door, his boots landing heavy on the porch. Sarah, Rachel, and Luke rushed behind him, their shadows tangling on the porch boards.
This is the same horse.
Michael, what is it? You are scaring us.
The family froze, as if the ground had shifted beneath their boots and every unspoken question had found its voice at once.
What do you mean? Same horse. You haven't touched a horse in 40 years.
She's the same mare that I lost the day I went blind. Her head shape, the set of her ears, I'd know them anywhere.
Wait. Look at her left ear. There's a notch, like an old scar. I've never seen that on a horse before.
His thumb traced the crescent-shaped mark, as if reading a story only he could feel.
Are you saying this is impossible?
If it's true, then the horse wasn't sold off after all. That means someone lied.
The word lied hung in the air, and every face turned toward Michael.
40 years of silence. And now the truth is sitting right here on the porch. But not yet. Not like this. I need to sit with this. I'll tell you, but not now. Tyler, take Dunya back to the barn.
The family stood in a fractured circle, the old man's hands still trembling on the mare's neck as dusk began to swallow the light. Inside, Thomas and Sarah's voices dropped low, but the argument was already cutting.
He's confused, Sarah. 40 years of darkness and grief. He hears a hoofbeat and thinks his past has come back.
You saw his face. He's never been confused. He hasn't cried since my mother died, and tonight he did. I am not waiting. If there's a paper trail, I'll find it. This horse came from somewhere.
Rachel's fingers flew across her phone, digging through county auction records that went back decades.
I can call my uncle. He ran the feed store for 30 years. This town remembers its horses.
Michael, out on the porch with his hand still on Donya's neck, could see his old mare through his fingertips, the same warm muzzle that had filled his silent world for years before the darkness. He'd spent every morning in the barn with her, whispering plans he never told anyone, trusting her with his silences.
Wait, This old photograph Michael at the county fair with his mare. Look at the left ear.
In the faded image, a tiny crescent-shaped notch mirrored the scar on Donya's ear exactly. On the porch, Tyler stayed close to the mare, watching his grandfather's face shift with each memory.
Grandpa, was she your horse? The one you lost when you got hurt?
She had a dished forehead, a white star right between her eyes, and ears that tipped just so.
Tyler looked at Donya and saw the star, the curved ears, everything his grandfather had just described.
The ear notch matches, Dad. Now tell me, why did you never touch another horse? What really happened that day?
They're getting too close. If they go to Gary, he'll spill the guilt that ought to be mine.
Maybe we should talk to Uncle Gary. He was there that day, right? He might know something.
Gary hasn't said a word to us in 40 years. What could he possibly say now?
The wind picked up, rattling the porch boards as Michael's silence grew heavier than the coming night. But the question had been planted, and it wouldn't rest until someone dug up the answer. The moon climbed high. Michael sat alone in the dark, Donya's warm breath on his cheek as he spoke.
I should have told them everything. Girl, I should have screamed it from the hospital bed. But I was blind and broken, and I let you go.
40 years earlier, in the barn, a man rattled a metal chain and drummed a bucket, not to move cattle, but to panic one horse. The horse reared, its rider fell, and the man who caused it stepped back into shadow, letting a brother's screams fill the dust. Inside, Sarah leaned against the window, the old man's voice seeping through the glass.
He's talking to the horse like it's 40 years ago. He just said he should have screamed.
He's been alone too long. That's all.
What if he's been protecting someone, and it's finally breaking him? We should call Dr. Melby tomorrow.
On the porch, Michael didn't hear them. He only heard the echo of his own silence that had lasted 40 years. And under the moon, the old man and the horse stood like two ghosts, waiting for the dawn to force their story into the light. Morning, light found Rachel on the porch steps, phone clutched in both hands, her face pale as the screen.
The county registrar confirmed it. Donya was foaled at the old Peterson ranch from a mare named Rosie, the same mare that was registered to Michael 40 years ago.
Thomas stepped forward, the paper in his hand suddenly far heavier than a single photograph.
6 years. I bought her 6 years ago. You've seen this horse in my paddock, and you never said a word.
He's right. I heard her hoofbeats years ago, and I stayed silent because I was still afraid.
Thomas, that's enough. Look at him. He's worn down to nothing.
No, she's right. It's time. Everyone, sit down, please.
They settled on the porch steps, the morning sun slicing through the dust. Tyler stood beside Donya, her tail swishing at the flies.
The accident wasn't an accident.
The words hung in the air like the first crack of ice on a frozen river. Nobody breathed.
My older brother Gary was jealous. He spooked my horse on purpose during the roundup. The fall stole my sight.
Thomas's jaw tightened until it looked like it would crack. Sarah's hand flew to her mouth, as if she'd been struck.
He couldn't stand that our father trusted me more. He stood in the barn, rattled chains, and watched me fall.
The flash of memory broke through the decades. A young man's face wide with fear and anger, then disappearing behind a cloud of dust.
In the hospital, I heard the sound you make when you are guilty. But I was blind, weak, and he was my brother. So I said nothing.
He sold your horse the next day, didn't he? That's how she ended up with the Petersons, and then us.
Donya is her last foal. Born on the neighbor's land, sold to your father years later, by nothing but chance. My hands just told me she came home.
40 years, and you never told us. We thought it was an accident. We thought you were just grieving.
The weight of the secret pressed down on the porch, squeezing the air out of every chest. Even the mare shifted her weight as if she understood. Michael turned his blind eyes toward the morning sun, and for the first time in 40 years, his silence was broken. But the family's was just beginning.
I am driving to Gary's house right now. He's going to look me in the face and explain why he took your sight.
He sat at our Sunday dinners and smiled while Grandpa stumbled in the dark. I can't breathe.
Stop it, both of you. Tearing each other apart won't undo 40 years. Michael didn't tell us for a reason.
I appreciate your anger, Thomas, but I've carried this alone because I was afraid it would break us. Now I need to finish it.
Grandpa, I don't understand. Why would Uncle Gary hurt you? You were brothers. It's not right.
Jealousy is a poison. It makes a man see what he doesn't have and forget what he does.
Thomas's jaw unlocked, just slightly, and Rachel dried her cheeks with a sleeve still smelling of hay. Luke, who hadn't spoken, put a hand on Rachel's shoulder.
Fine. But I am driving you. He doesn't get to hide behind his deathbed. We all need this.
Thank you, son. I need to hear it from his own lips, for my own peace.
And so the family straightened their backs, still broken but no longer scattered. In the quiet morning, they began to plan the hardest visit of their lives. A nurse on the phone confirmed what they already knew. Gary Hayes had only hours left. If they were going to face him, it had to be now.
I am coming. I need to see his face when he knows we know what he did.
I'll stay with Tyler. He shouldn't see the worst of it, not yet.
But Grandpa, I want to help. What if he says something bad?
You help by staying here and looking after Donya. She's been alone too long already.
I'll come with you. You'll need another driver if things get hard.
Thomas simply nodded, keys already in his grip. He took Michael's elbow and guided him off the porch. In the corral, Donya lifted her head and turned toward the gravel road. Her ears pricked forward, following the sound of footsteps. The old pickup rumbled past the gate, and dust rose in a long plume behind it, swallowing the ranch in a golden haze. And Donya stood at the fence, watchful, as if carrying the weight of 40 summers on her patient back. The truck turned onto a rutted drive, and the old ranch house rose out of the overgrown brush like a splinter that never healed.
This place is falling apart. He's been living like a ghost.
A tired-looking woman met them at the door and led them through a hallway thick with the smell of medicine and old secrets. In the dim bedroom, Gary Hayes lay propped against pillows, his skin like wax paper, his breath a shallow rattle. Thomas guided Michael to the chair beside the bed, his own jaw set so hard it trembled.
Michael, you came. After all this time.
I know what you did, Gary. I've known since that hospital bed, and I've come to hear you say it.
The old man's milky eyes stayed fixed on the space where his brother's voice came from, unblinking, unyielding. The silence that followed was heavier than any words. Thomas stood with his back against the wall, fists clenched, watching the two brothers through a prism of 40 years of lies. He'd never seen his father look so fierce. The room held its breath. Only the oxygen machine whispered, counting down what was left. The wax paper face crumbled. Tears traced the deep lines that 40 years of guilt had carved into Gary Hayes' cheeks.
I did it. I couldn't stand that he loved you more, that he'd leave you the ranch. I meant to scare you, not blind you, but you fell, and I couldn't take it back. So I sold your horse and buried the truth under a life that never felt like mine. This is what 40 years of guilt looks like, and it's still not enough. I've heard your voice every night. I've replayed that chain rattling 1,000 times. There's no pardon for what I did.
Michael's hands rested on his cane, the knuckles white. He didn't speak. He let the silence draw every last drop from the confession.
Your sight, your horse. I took everything because I was less, and I've been less ever since.
The machine hissed. Thomas searched his father's face for anger, for grief, but Michael's expression was granite.
You came for the truth. That's all of it. There's nothing more.
The old man's blind eyes glistened, but his voice remained still. The weight had shifted to the other chair, and it was crushing. After an eternity, Michael's hand lifted from the cane and found Gary's. It was the first time they'd touched in 40 years.
I forgive you, Gary. Not for you. For me. I've carried this poison long enough.
I don't deserve that. I don't deserve any of this.
Rest now. You've carried the guilt far enough.
Michael pushed himself up. Thomas took his arm, and together they walked out of the room where 40 years of silence had finally broken. The old house seemed to exhale as they passed through its dusty rooms, every floorboard groaning with the release.
I didn't know you had that in you, Dad.
Neither did I. But Donya reminded me what it feels like to hold on to a good thing, not just the pain.
They drove away, the weight of decades lifting with every mile. In the rearview mirror, the ranch house shrank until it was just another shadow on the prairie. And somewhere in the dust, the last chain of a 40-year secret finally fell silent. The truck rolled into the ranch yard, and the porch steps were already full. Sarah and Tyler, their faces tight with the same unspoken question.
It's done. He confessed everything, and I forgave him.
Oh, Michael, after all this time, you found the strength to set it down.
He was broken, Mom. We all were for a moment, but it's over now.
So, Uncle Gary really did it? But Grandpa isn't mad anymore?
No, son, I let it go. And now I want you to let something in.
What do you mean?
Donya is ours. She's family now, and she'll be your horse as long as you want her.
Tyler turned toward the corral, where the chestnut mare stood in the afternoon light, and for the first time, he saw her not as a lesson, but as a promise. The family gathered in a loose circle on the porch, the weight still there but no longer crushing. Donya lifted her head and nickered, as if sealing the pact. A week of quiet mornings passed. The old man on the porch sat straighter now, his blind eyes tilted toward the corral, where hoofbeats fell soft on dry earth.
Keep your heels down and your heart up, Tyler. She'll feel both.
She feels different today. Lighter. Like she knows something's changed.
Inside the kitchen window, the same four faces watched again, but the hands that once pressed to mouths now rested on shoulders and mugs of coffee.
I haven't seen him sit that easy in 40 years. He looks younger.
He is younger. He just shed 40 years of silence.
Michael's cane leaned against the porch rail, a faint pale ring around the wood where his hand used to grip it every afternoon. The ring hadn't deepened in days.
I don't need to lean so hard anymore. The ground feels steadier than it ever has.
From the corral, Donya's hoofbeats kept their steady rhythm, no longer counting out a secret, just circling through the golden afternoon. On the porch, the blind grandfather closed his eyes and let the sound wash over him. For the first time, it felt like home. Gary Hayes passed in the early hours. His brother's forgiveness, the last sound he heard. In the dim bedroom, the family stood in a silence, finally free of chains. At the graveside, a wreath of wild flowers rested on the casket, tied with a strip of barn leather, a piece of the land that bound them all.
My brother did a terrible thing, and I carried the weight for 40 years. But before jealousy poisoned his heart, he taught me to saddle a horse. I won't bury the man he became without remembering the boy he was. We were brothers, and that still counts.
Thomas let his shoulders drop. Rachel touched her chest. The anger that had burned for weeks finally quieted after the service. Michael walked to the corral, his cane tapping a lighter rhythm. Donya was already at the fence.
Thank you, Rosie, for sending her back. Your daughter carries your heart in every hoofbeat.
He pressed his forehead to her warm neck, and nothing moved but the horse's breathing and the dust. The sun dipped low, and the old man stood there, holding on to everything he'd nearly lost for good. When he sat back on the porch, the rocking chair creaked with a lighter song. The weight of 40 years had been set down. A year later, Tyler rode Donya with the easy confidence of a lifelong partner. The mare knew his every signal. Each afternoon, Donya's hoofbeats filled the corral, while Michael on the porch followed every stride with a quiet smile.
You've got her heart now, boy. She'd walk through fire for you.
She's the best teacher I've ever had. Even better than you, Grandpa.
Michael's body weakened, but his voice stayed sure. He still sat through every ride, cane resting idle. One evening, with the sun spilling amber across the porch boards, Michael called Tyler to sit beside him.
I've told you the story in pieces. Tonight, you'll hear it whole. from the dusty roundup to the deathbed.
He spoke of chains in a barn, a hospital bed, a brother's shadow, and 40 years of silence.
How did you forgive him, Grandpa? After everything he took.
Because holding on to wrong doesn't give back what you lost. Dunya taught me that holding on to love is stronger.
One morning, Michael didn't wake. His rocking chair was found still, Donya standing just beyond the porch rail, her head bowed.
He slipped away just like he promised he would, on the porch with her nearby.
They carried his rocking chair to the barn, setting it beside the stall where Donya slept, as if his seat could still watch over her. Every afternoon, Tyler rode Donya through the dust, and the mare moved with a reverence that seemed older than the hills.
Grandpa said she'd carry his spirit. Now I feel it in every stride.
That horse held a 40-year secret, and now she holds all our love.
He didn't leave us blind. He left us seeing better than we ever did.
Tyler placed a wildflower wreath on the barn post each sunset, then rode on, the lesson sealed in his heart. In the barn, the empty rocking chair became the quiet heart of the ranch, a seat that would never need to be filled, and Donya, the chestnut mare who had carried the truth home, never left the sight of that porch. Years passed. The ranch grew strong under Thomas's steady hands, and the corral never went silent. Tyler, now 16, still swung onto Donya each afternoon. Her old bones moved slower, but her heart never did.
Grandpa couldn't see with his eyes, but he taught me to see with my hands, my ears, my heart.
The family gathered on the porch often, the empty rocking chair now a seat of honor rather than absence.
She still knows the way around this corral better than any of us.
Dunya's coat had grayed, but her eyes still held that same calm intelligence that had recognized Michael's touch.
One day she'll be gone too, but the truth she carried will stay in this family forever.
In the barn, the wildflowers on the chair never wilted. Tyler replaced them every morning. The cycle of hoofbeats continued, each one a prayer, each one a memory of the blind man who finally saw clearly. And on the porch, in the quiet of dusk, the rocking chair creaked with a story that would never be silenced again. The sun still sets on the Hayes Ranch, gilding the empty rocking chair that waits on the porch in the corral. Donya grazes peacefully, her chestnut coat catching the last rays of light. Through the kitchen window, laughter spills out from the table, where Sarah still makes too much coffee. On the mantel, a faded photograph shows a young man and his mare the way they were. The light stretches across the porch boards, as if the old man's hand is still reaching. A hoof print in the dust holds the shape of a story that circles forever. They gather, not because they have to, but because they finally know how. And sometimes Tyler picks up that photograph and traces the ear notch with his thumb. The ranch breathes in the silence, fuller now than it has been in 40 years, and the wind that once carried screams now carries only the sound of hoofbeats and home. The sun dipped low over the Hayes Ranch, painting the sky in shades of amber and rose. Tyler checked Donya's girth one last time, a habit his grandfather had taught him. He swung into the saddle, and the old leather creaked with the memory of 1,000 rides. They walked toward the open pasture, the light spilling gold across their path. Horse and rider became a single silhouette against the burning edge of the horizon. Tyler's hand rested on Donya's neck, and the mare's ears pricked forward as if listening to a silent command. Dust kicked up behind them, each particle catching the light like a held breath. The ranch house shrank in the distance, but on its porch, the empty rocking chair still faced the corral. The circle closed, as it always had on this land, a story with no true end. And into the sunset they rode, the blind old man's vision finally fulfilled in every stride.